What's up, guys? Welcome to the video. So today we're going to talk about the real masculinity crisis. What is the real masculinity crisis? Okay, so the real masculinity. Let's dive into this because this is very important if you're a man watching this. There is a crisis of masculinity going on. There is a war on masculinity, and every man that is watching this, you'll know it deep down, instinctively, intuitively, maybe even the depths of your psyche, subconsciously, you'll know you're at a battle with your true masculinity, your true essence of masculinity and civilization, society. This is what the real crisis is. Masculinity living and working, operating within society, civilization. A society, civilization, let's say, I'm going to use just civilization. Civilization requires man to be castrated. It requires his masculinity to be castrated. It cannot have masculine men expressing their masculinity in its truest form, because that will mean that man is an uncivilized human being, that he is a danger to society, that he is either violent, but I don't even think it has to do with violence. I think it more to do with the man would be free, the man would be uncontrollable. The man would be able to live outside the norms and requirements of a society. You see, what a society or a civilization does is it wants you to become more like a female. And you see this from starting even in the education system, okay? Everything, everything's geared towards trying to be more like girls. Boys are taught to be more like girls, okay, and obedient. Women are more obedient. They're more agreeable. We know this, and one of the 5 big personality traits. They are more agreeable and certainly more obedient. And so that's what it's drummed in from a young age for boys to be that way. And the reason being, if you grow up, if you look back, what traditional masculinity involves, it involves a man to be free, to be wild, and to go out and conquer new lands, search, travel, conquer, go to war, fight, hunt. Back in the caveman times, before civilization was really a thing, that's what the men needed to be. They all had to be that way. Whether they all were or not, well, the ones that weren't probably didn't survive. We needed to be tough, we needed to be strong, you need to go out and hunt and gather and protect the perimeters and the land, etc. And gradually, over the years, as civilization has grown, and we went through the agricultural period and so on, and then we just got richer and richer, and food became into abundance, and places become safer and safer. There was less and less need for those type of men that we were from the dawn of time. Less and less need for those men to be around. And in the end, those men started being a burden, because the ones that were working their way to the top of the game, it wasn't through their brawn, it was through more of their brain, let's say. Okay, and you see at the top, who's at the top? Look at the men at the top of the game now. Look at the richest men in the world. Look at people like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. Apart from their brain, okay, apart from their wealth, what else do you want in terms of a characteristic of a man, of their characteristics of a man? Look at the state of them. Dweebs. Physically dweebs. They're nerds. They're geeky. They're not tough. You don't want to look like them. You don't want to be in the shape they're in. I'm sure they would never be. If you throw them out into the wild, they wouldn't last a week. Put them in the ring, they wouldn't last a minute. And so as a man today, you're in the modern world. We have this battle between our wild, true, masculine nature and civilization trying to just numb that side of you. They're in fact not even trying to numb it, they're trying to just drill it out of you. Like I said before, it starts from a young age. And you see today, right? You hear the phrase toxic masculinity all the time. You hear it in the media and on social media, etc. And you see men are criticized all the time for trying to be tough, you know, trying to control their emotions. Men should express their emotions, and men's desire to constantly better themselves is dangerous and egotistical and blah, 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 blah. And we have this fight. This is the fight we have in modern day. We have that. That's that battle we have to reckon with. You know, if we accept we live in a society, it's a trade-off. We accepted that as men a long time ago. We have to have a trade-off here. Okay, this wild nature I have to rein that in a little bit if I'm going to have a roof over my head, a full belly, and I'm not going to be thrown in jail or killed. Okay, I accept that. I accept I am a part of society and civilization. But this is what I'm going to say now is where the real battle is. And that battle is, where's the line? What is too much? What is society? Where is the line where society is asking me for too much? Is asking me to give up too much of my true masculinity. And I think we reached a point, and I think we reached the point quite a while ago, quite a long time ago, but it's definitely been exasperated in the last 2 years with all this COVID nonsense, where it's gone too far now. We're giving up too much of who we're meant to be, who we really are, and too much of our freedoms. All just to fall in line with protecting society, being a good member of society and your community. Guys, let's be honest here. Outside of your close circle, who do you really give a shit about? Let's be fucking honest. You know, you hear things in England like protect the NHS, and you hear other things like protect your neighbour, love thy neighbour, and so on. But in reality, it's just your close circle of people that you really care about and love. And yes, of course, there's general rules and lines you don't want to cross. And this is where we come into accepting, you know, the unwritten social contracts of what it means to keep others safe and be respectful of other people. But when it's reaching the point where men cannot express their own masculinity and they have to dampen that down and they have to become more and more like females, and we have to give up every freedom we have just for the sake of the larger group, just for the sake of making other people feel safer, that they haven't got to worry about us. This is a line too far. This is going too much. This is taking away too much of us. And this is what we have to battle now as men. And I think generally we're losing that battle. The average man has become a shadow of men of old, you know. They've become lazy, ill-disciplined, consumers of content, sit there in front of the TV, play PlayStation, and eat crappy food, never exercise, go to their job, be a good little worker, good little slave. Generally, we've lost the battle. We're losing the battle. But the ones that are awake, the based individuals out there, the ones that are watching this video, the way you can fight back and push back against it is to say no, is to not comply for everything they ask of you. It's when they come up with bullshit terms of this is toxic masculinity and you're a misogynist and blah, 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 whatever it is, they come against you. And you have to do this. You have to protect the wider group and culture and blah, blah, blah. You just push back and you say, no, I won't do that. I won't give up that, who I'm meant to be and who I really am. That's if you want to continue to live in society. You know, you can't go too far. There is this romantic notion, and people, some men just sort of wish for the full collapse of civilization, a Mad Max scenario where we go back to, you know, survival of the fittest, go back to living and hunting in the wild, and back to war, and, you know, some like apocalyptic existence. But that's never going to happen. Definitely don't think it will happen. It's ridiculous to even really think it's really going to happen out here in the West anymore. Civilization will just change, and it will mold, but it will not collapse. And it's a romantic idea for many men, but we're not going there. You have to accept that we have to live here in this society, and there are some trade-offs, but they cannot be too much. They cannot even come close to being too much, and we have to say no and put our foot down and understand who we are as men and what we really need. And if we start doing that, and we start waking more and more men up, and more men say no, and they live more true to themselves and their own masculinity, I think that will be a greater benefit to society. Because the way we're going is, you know, that saying, right? Weak men create hard times. Hard times create strong men, etc. And this procession of weak men is creating harder and harder times. Things are getting more and more difficult. There's too many people just willing to just go along with the narrative that's been fed to them through media and government. And we were being eroded of our freedoms. And enough is enough. And it takes strong men to stand up and say no. And bring back masculinity to a popular light, a positive light among popular culture. So, good luck with it. Do that, guys. I hope this resonates with you. I hope you understand what you have to do, where the battle lies, and how to overcome it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give this a like, me a subscribe. I'll keep bringing you content like this. All right? Thank you.